All right, everyone. Now in this video, we're going to be doing this last set of cuts for the short legs. All right, this is a little bit more tricky just because you have 40-degree angle cuts and 45-degree angle cuts, and you have to switch. On the first one, I'm going to do the measurement along the bottom edge of the board, and the second one, I got to do the measurement along the top edge of the board. So you got to be a little bit more careful in how you mark, where you mark, and the angles. So it's a little more to keep track of on this one. All right, so if you come around this side, just like before, I'm gonna start with my first mark. It's gonna be a 40-degree angle, but I'm not gonna start on the very edge of the board because, as you see in this picture, I've got lots of extra wood on the end of this board. All right, so to make sure I got a good edge on this, right? This is the edge that came from the factory. It's a little chewed up. Rather than using that exactly the way it is, I'm gonna just make a mark about a ½ inch in, and that way, that's where I'm gonna start. So this first mark is a 40-degree angle. All right, 40 degrees. So just like before, I'm gonna put the speed square, the pivot point of the speed square on that mark, and then I'm gonna rotate the speed square until I find my 40-degree mark. All right, so again, pay attention to your speed square. It can be hard to see because it's engraved in metal, but here's my 40-degree. All right, line that up nice and flush to the edge of the board, and then hold that speed square down. Make a good solid mark all the way across that board. All right, so now let's go ahead and mark it. Mark the waist side. This is my waist side. That way I'm not gonna have the blade on the wrong side. All right, let's go ahead and cut this. All right, last time this saw was set at a 30-degree angle, so now I need to set it to a 40-degree angle. All right, so here's my 40-degree. That's not a standard mark or standard angle for a carpenter. So there's my 40-degree mark. Lock it down with the handle, line the board up, make sure the shadow is on the waist side. All right, so I'm gonna pull the blade down. You see that the mark is not there. So shift the board. All right. So you see here, this happens occasionally, that the pencil mark and the shadow of the blade do not line up 100% on this. So I'm going to double check the angle on the saw. I trust the saw a little bit more than I trust the mark that I made because maybe it shifted, maybe I wasn't quite exactly flush. I'm going to trust the saw over my mark, but they are close, right? If they were way off, then I'd have to go remark it. But this is relatively close. It's a small little gap here. We're doing rough carpentry, so to me, that's within reason. All right, so now because of the setup here, I am gonna switch my hand position. I do not trust, I don't have any place to grab on, so I'm gonna use the saw with my left hand, hold the board with my right hand. All right, so again, just be safe. All right, everything's set up. I'm ready to go. Lift the saw up, start the saw. Remember, all the way down, all the way back with the saw. All right, so there's my first 40-degree cut. Now, we're gonna go ahead and do the next one. All right, so here, make sure you're paying attention to the drawing. Notice how they put a 19-inch mark along the bottom of the board. So from that 40-degree mark, 19 inches over, find our next mark. So from that corner, have someone help you hold it. 19 inches over. There we go. Okay, so there's 19 inches. And then this is going to be a 45-degree angle. All right, it is a different angle. It's a 45-degree angle. Okay, so hold that there. Keep that pivot point, and then rotate it. Make sure the pivot point is still there. It slid a little bit on me. That's fine. Just move it back. All right, so now it's on 45. Double check my pivot point. Everything's good. Hold it down. Make your mark. And again, mark your waist side. It's not wasted, I'm gonna throw the board away, but this is the side that's technically my waist right now. All right, so I'm gonna make sure the blade is on the waist side, 45-degree angle. All right, also, just for future reference, because it's gonna come back when I'm doing the assembly, I'm gonna mark this as my 19-inch side, because this side's gonna be a little bit different with the way the angles are. But this is gonna help me when I come back later and assemble this, this bench. All right, back to our saw. Before I do anything, I'm gonna reset the angle. All right, sorry about that. So I'm gonna set it to 45 degrees. That is a standard angle. The blade should click into 45 degrees. You still push down on the handle. All right, the blade on the waist side. All right, so now you see the pencil mark and the shadows over here. I'm gonna slide it back until, again, the blade is on, touching the line, but on the waist side. Back a little bit more. All right, there we go. And again, so here the most important thing is, again, you see the pencil mark is a little bit different than the shadow. I'm gonna really want to make sure, I'm gonna trust the blade again on this, trust the saw. I'm gonna make sure the shadow is touching that pivot point, because that's my 19-inch mark. That's what I really wanna make sure of. And if it's overlapping this part up here, again, very minimally. All right, again, same idea. Because of the angle, I'm gonna kind of reverse my hold. Left hand on the trigger, right hand holding the board. All right, everything's solid. I'm ready to go. All right, there's our first piece. All right, make sure that gets stored with the rest of your bench. Now we got one more piece to cut here, but this one's gonna be different because it's gonna be a 19-inch cut along the top. All right, so here's for the last cut. All right, so again, we're making a copy of the same thing. The only difference is now the 19 inches along the top. All right, and this one's gonna be a little bit tougher to mark just because here we're not grabbing on to the end of the board like this. We are trying to make the measurement along a kind of open edge, so you do need to make sure whoever's holding this tape really holds it on that edge as cleanly as possible. And then we put the 19-inch mark here. And then this time, we are kind of coming backwards with a 40-degree angle. Again, make sure you're doing the right angle. It's a 40-degree angle. All right, so I put the speed square on that pivot point. All right, and then I'm coming back to 40 degrees. All right, there's my 40-degree mark right there. You see 35 and 45, there's 40. All right, and then here's my 40-degree angle. All right, there we have it. I'm gonna again mark this as 19 inches. I'm gonna mark this as my waist side, and that's a 40-degree angle coming back. Let's go make our last cut, and after this, it's all assembly. So again, let's get the saw reset. Lift up on the handle, push the button, slide it to 40 degrees. Here you have to again, all right, slide it right there, and then lock down the handle, slide the board into position, make sure everything is supported on all sides. When I pull down on the saw, make sure the blade is on the waist side. All right, and here, looks like maybe I was a little bit more careful with my mark this time, because it does seem to be lining up a lot better. All right, so again, I'm gonna make sure the shadow is just touching the line, but on the waist side. All right, board is solid, everything's lined up, last cut. All right, so again, I'm reversing my hand position because of the angle. All right, let's go ahead. All right, the only thing is there, I do see my pencil mark, so when I'm assembling, I might need to come back and do a very slight trim on this because I have a little extra. I'd rather have extra than not enough. But I'll wait till I do the assembly before I make that call to see how things actually assemble, make sure the bench is flush. All right, if you got any questions, check with your teacher. Thank you very much.